fellow Toastmasters. Today I have the, sorry, I should give him some time to say good morning back. Sorry. You would actually wish me good morning back. Today I have the privilege of introducing Doug Chapel in his 5th speech, which is speech number 5 out of the manual, Your Body Speaks, and it is entitled Learning to Ski. And it is about talking about the day he learned to ski downhill and how a Good Samaritan helped him stop struggling. I learned to ski one day and it was my last. So I am very much looking forward to hearing about your experience. Maybe it'll get me back out there someday. As the speech Your Body Speaks, will be focusing on body movements, stance, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, and the like. And Mr. Timer, 5 to 7 minutes for this speech. And so I'll introduce Doug Chapel with the speech, Learning to Ski.
Mr. Trent. Well, when I was growing up, downhill skiing is not the sort of thing that would have ever appealed to me. I was a very uncoordinated and gangly youth. I've been this height since I was in 8th grade with, long, uncoordinated legs and arms that flail around. And I've played some sports that I've enjoyed, but I've never been very good because I've never had very good hand-eye coordination. I still really don't. I'm still a kind of wiry guy. That changed a little bit the winter that I was a sophomore in high school. Every winter, my youth group at church went on a ski trip up north. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I had, at the time of our ski trip, just recently started dating another girl in the youth group, and she was going to go on the trip. So I thought, well, hey, weekend away, even though even in the context of a church trip, that sounded appealing. And I did not want to go up to Cabernet, up in Cadillac, if you're not familiar. I did not want to go up there and just sit in the lodge all day. So I thought, well, as long as I'm there, I will give skiing a try. Well, fortunately, or I thought fortunately, the ski package that our group got included a free lesson. And I thought, that's great. I have no idea what I'm doing. This lesson will get me on the right path. And that was really not the case. The lesson was very unhelpful. It was taught by a guy who was probably a college student, and he would have rather been anywhere other than teaching a bunch of high school students how to ski. The one thing I got out of the lesson is something that maybe even some non-skiers have at least heard of, and that was how to snow plow, or pizza slice, or it's called some different things, but snow plowing is what we call it. And when you snow plow, the point is, I don't know how everyone can see my feet, but when you snow plow, the point is you sort of point your toes together so that your skis come together to a point, and kind of like so, and you squat down and dig in the edges of your skis. And the point of doing that is to kind of slow yourself down and kind of give yourself a little bit of control. So the lesson did teach me how to do that. But that was it. So we did that on the bunny hill, and then they took us up the chairlift up to the top of the hill, and I'm looking down and thinking, well, this is just, I'm about to ski off a cliff, even though this was really about the easiest beginner type run that Cabernet has. And the thing that I could see was going to be an issue was this run had a very slight curve in it. And I kept asking other people, including the guy who did the lesson, how do you turn? And also, how do you stop? And no one could tell me. No one had a good explanation. Nowadays, a decade later, as someone who's now a fairly skilled skier, I don't know how I'd explain it to somebody. It's something you just sort of figure out as you go. It's like if someone said, well, how do you walk? Well, I don't know, you get up and just do it. I was able to figure out pretty quickly one surefire way to stop, and that's to just fall down. And if you are going to learn to ski, you do have to be prepared to fall down a lot. And I was able to intuitively just understand that the best way to fall down is really to fall down on purpose, because you know what's going to happen and you can control it. And I won't demonstrate it, but you can kind of do a baseball slide sort of thing, and then you stop pretty quickly. And since you're bundled up and it's on the snow, it doesn't hurt. But you know, you'd prefer not to have that happen. And each time I fell over, which was frequently, I thought, I realized, well, here's also a way that I can turn every time I need to turn. And again, like I said, this run had a slight little dog leg in it. Each time I needed to turn, well, I could just fall down on purpose, stand back up, point myself in a new direction, get back into my snow plow, go another 20 feet, fall down again, over and over again. Well, after the first few very laborious trips down the run, I was pretty frustrated. What is the point of doing this? This isn't fun. I can do it, but this is terrible. And I was getting frustrated and about ready to call it quits and just go into the lodge and just play euchre with a few other people who were skiing. When all of a sudden, a Good Samaritan showed up. A woman wearing a red ski patrol jacket. If you go skiing, you see these people out there. And this woman just came from like my blind side and put her ski pole down in front of me and just said, "Stop!" Put her ski pole right down in front of me and immediately had my attention. And in a matter of maybe 60 seconds, she said, "Here's what you're gonna do. Okay, you're in your snowplow, you've got that." And she said, "Hold your arms out with your poles, just like this." And she said, "If you want to turn right, just do this and act like you're driving a tank and just push your arms like this. So to turn right, push your left arm forward, pull your right arm back." And she said, "Just trust me, that will make you turn right." I thought, okay, this has got to be better than what I'm doing, falling down on purpose. So I did that, and sure enough, that did in fact work. And I was still, I'm sure, extremely ungainly out there, looking like, you know, I mean, you can just see me doing this, and it looks really silly. But it meant that I could get down the hill kind of under control, kind of knowing what I was doing. And that gave me the foundation to be able to practice a little bit more, because now it was fun. It wasn't this exercise in futility, this exercise in just trying to survive a trip down the hill. And that meant that I had enough of a fun day to, at the end of the day, say, hey, I would like to do this again in the future. So over the last 12 years now, I go skiing almost every year, and over the years, with more and more practice, once I got over that initial hump of just kind of knowing what I was doing, I've been able to become quite a bit more skilled and get a lot more enjoyment out of it just through practice and working out the kinks as I go. So, Brian, maybe someday you give it another try. Maybe that's what you need, is just a kind of no-nonsense lady to show up and just put that and say, "Now you listen to me. You're going to learn to ski today." I don't know. So, you know, good luck with that. All right, this is Joe Smash.